Hi there.
Hi, welcome back to Curious Collection. I'm Will.
I'm Cinnamon.
We're going to go over our P&L numbers, March 2024.
Yep.
We had a pretty good month. Little disappointed with eBay, frankly. But we'll get into that. We're going to show you exactly what happened with eBay and what that means for our business and what we're doing to compensate for it. So our total business, top line sales, $10,650. Not a bad month.
No, it really isn't. It's hard because last year we had a really great March. We had gotten some really good buys.
Well, so just to kind of preface this, March is historically our best month.
Yes.
With the types of products that we choose.
Yeah, 2 years ago you had an amazing buy. In March that we were able to just completely transform the business. And then last year we had a really good March as well because we had a good March the previous year to grow off of. And again, I was working for us at that point, and had a little bit of experience. And so we were able to do really well last year. So then when you take this year over last year and you don't see that growth that we had been experiencing, it's kind of a little disheartening.
Right. So our main store, so this is our eBay store, our Curious Collection main store, $8,160 in eBay sales. In that store, you can see the next line down is our returns. $34.76. Now, yesterday we talked about how we have two very expensive pieces that are being returned to us.
Yeah.
They're going to end up landing in April, even though we sold them in March. So it's really going to hurt when that $500 in merchandise comes back to us.
Yes.
$34.76 was March's returns.
So it's not very much. $34, right.
Less than 0.3%. People get upset about returns, but historically for us, it's not a problem.
No, it's not. So, it all evens out at the end. We have numbers put in for our expected returns. That's just part of doing business. So, it is what it is. Right.
Our Curious Collection ads eBay store. So this is merely advertising and some magazines. $397. I have actually listed in that store one day in the past month.
Again, we talk about diversifying.
But unfortunately, the more I put into other things, then the less time I have to put into the original things. So again, I'm getting pulled thin, and where am I going to put the effort? Am I going to put the effort into our $8,000 store or a $400 store? So it is what it is. We had a $25 sale.
Oh yeah, that was a private
vendor.
sale.
Right. So we moved some of our less than merchandise.
Right. So I mean, I've talked about it before. There's a certain quality of piece
if we can't sell it for $10.
No, if I can't sell it for 15,
right.
Then I can't expect people to spend that kind of money on online shopping that includes the shipping and everything like that. So if it's a piece that I can't sell for $15 to $20, then I can't sell it in our main store. That's just all there is to it. So I had a private sale that I take some of the things that I don't put on eBay and sell it to one of our vendors that we work with.
Right. So we had a sale on Poshmark.
We did.
So $13 doesn't sound like a whole lot, but why don't you tell us about that?
So we're trying to diversify. We're trying to figure out what to do to make sure that this business can still support our household. And if eBay can't support our household solely, then we have to diversify. We've been talking about this for months. And so I finally took a couple of days, figured out how to list on Poshmark because again, I have jewelry. So, that's kind of the target market for Posh. So I did. I listed in a couple of days. I put up just over a dozen listings. And we already sold one after 2 days of listing. We had a sale.
I was going to say it was less than 48 hours and you had one sold.
Yeah. So I was super pleased about that. And it's very encouraging, when you get that instant gratification of, okay, I spent 2 days working in Posh and I already made a sale. So whether it's beginner's luck, whether it's whatever it is, it was a super cool piece. It was a bracelet that was, Heshy and all of that. So it was a cool piece. But yeah, we got a sale already. So I was very pleased.
Right. So, I mean, I think that's amazing. The account hasn't been open for more than 2 weeks and it's already generated a sale. And frankly, that piece that we sold was something that came in a box lot. You paid less than $1 for. That's great profit for, I mean, $13 doesn't sound like a lot, but when you consider that that's mainly profit, that does not include shipping. So we'll take it.
Yep.
Whatnot. We've got 2 different whatnot lines because I don't know how to use my software. So I capitalized one N and not the other. So I gave me 2 different lines for whatnot. But we can do some little math and we can figure out that we did like $2,000, a little over $2,000, $2,100 in whatnot sales in the last month. So that
almost $2,100 in 1 month.
Right.
That makes up for
eBay's deficiencies.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it's the whole business, right? We've talked about that before, that, unfortunately, it's not just eBay. We would love for it to just be eBay. We are actually just talking on our walk this morning. We would love for it to be those easy days of eBay when it was just us coming into the office and listing 50 items and that was our day, because it didn't take up as much headspace. But we're still able to do this. We're still able to support our household. It looks different, but I mean, I don't know that there's anything we've ever done that looks the way that we thought it was going to look when we decided to go down that road.
We certainly don't have anything that looks the way that people told us it should look.
That's real too.
So, the idea that we're going to make our entire living off from eBay, frankly, I'm not comfortable with that anyway. So
you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket, because then what happens if there's something that happens, Right.
So our eBay sales, we talked about. So the accounting software is giving me much different numbers, not much different, but a couple % different than what eBay does on their side. I trust the accounting software over eBay.
Yeah.
But anyways, the numbers that eBay is presenting us with, $8,788 is down 29% over March of last year. So again, we talked about it in our previous video.
Yeah.
Always use your year-over-year numbers. Do not use your
month over month.
March compared to February is silly.
Totally different.
March
for us,
compared to December is silly.
I mean, we do jewelry, so you would think that like in February there might be some of the Valentine's Day bumps, or you just can't compare the month to month because they're completely different animals.
So we always compare March this year to March last year. And when we compare that, it's down 29%, which, so for March, that's terrible. We lost a third of our sales. Last year, we were at over $12,000. This year, under $9,000. So we sold 384 pieces. Now, yesterday's video, we talked about how we had a lot more high dollar items.
Right.
But unfortunately, we didn't sell as many of the low dollar items. So we had 384 pieces sold, but that was down 36% to last year.
Yeah.
So all of our, average items, all of our regular consumer goods that I would say are like the middle class items, those aren't selling.
No, but our average sales price has gone up 12%, and it went from $20 to $23. Roughly estimates,
Right.
So I mean that's a huge increase, So what are you going to do? It's the business. And again,
Right.
it's the whole business. So that's why we do have to diversify. We've got, you know, the eBay store. We've got the secondary store. We've got the Poshmark now. We've got the whatnot. We've got YouTube, which is part of the business. You know, we're not making money on YouTube, but
right.
it's still part of the business. It's
still an important part of our business. You know, we have had some viewer sales through our regular sales channels on eBay. We've had some
people come into our Whatnot show
that have seen us on YouTube. So, you know, we absolutely appreciate all of the viewer sales.
Yes, we do. And all of the support and engagement, right, that we've gotten from you guys.
You guys have a lot of great ideas. So thank you so much for sharing all of those ideas, because, you know, we do take and read all of those comments. We do give consideration to all of the different things. So before we continue on to like our cost of goods and all that, I want to talk about what we were talking about yesterday with regard to expanding to other platforms and what we're considering and what we're hoping to come from that. So right now, our main store has just under 12,000 items listed on eBay. Probably a quarter to a third of that is jewelry. I
would say that that's a safe bet, yeah.
So we started using Posh. We already have a Mercari account, but we don't use it. No. We have an Etsy account. We don't use it.
So I will fully admit, I don't like doing new things because I'm a perfectionist. And if I'm not awesome at something, I am a failure. This is how I see myself. So doing new things like learning new platforms is very, very, very difficult for me to overcome. So it was a huge accomplishment when I got on Posh and started making these listings and figured out how to do it and then got a sale. So that was amazing. Just what I needed to be able to work through my own mental roadblocks so that I could try to help the business succeed in another avenue. You know, he's taken the ownership of the whatnot that we're doing because it's ephemera, and obviously I help, you know, but the ownership of that has been put on him. So doing the Poshmark is jewelry, so it kind of means that that ownership should kind of go on me. And obviously all of the listings and stuff would be going on me. So that was something that I needed to learn. So now that we're seeing that it might be something that would be successful for our business, we've, you know, had conversations about using a cross lister so that we could get that jewelry onto different platforms.
Right. So we're at the research portion of that journey. Again, we've already got these accounts. I've dabbled. I've sold a couple of things on Etsy. I've sold a couple of things on Mercari. We've now sold something on Posh. So we're considering getting a cross lister. We don't know if the pay per sale item.
So we've been crunching numbers because again, like that's how we are able to make these educated decisions, right? If you're just, you know, going off of the feels, that doesn't work in my brain because I have to see the hard numbers.
My emotions lie to me.
Right? Isn't that true?
So I can have, yesterday was Easter. eBay sales were terrible.
Again, holiday weekend, we get it.
Right.
We do.
So, but we had a good whatnot show, 15-minute show. We did $300 in 15 minutes. We had some exceptional items.
We did, yes.
But so I'm going, it was a terrible day. It was terrible.
Yeah, we didn't hit $200 on eBay.
Yeah, I
in
added
both stores.
Everything up. And we had a $500 day. And again, I'm not saying this to brag. This is our income. This is our job. So, I mean, again, you'll see when we go through the numbers that this is a really important part of our business is that, you know, we have to
know our numbers.
We have to know the numbers. We have minimums.
We've been looking at these numbers all month going, okay, our eBay sales are down. So if our eBay sales are down, what does that mean for the business? It means we need to make our inventory buys down as well, you know, and we have to diversify over other platforms. So anyway, so we're working on the research on which
cross-lister.
Yeah, which cross-lister we should use. So we were taking the numbers and we're going, okay, well, it's really only the jewelry that we want to cross-list. We don't need to cross-list his ephemera.
Right. Postcards, ship menus.
Right. That's not something that would go over on other venues anyway. So if we just are talking about the jewelry, you know, we were looking at TreeCat, we were looking at Vendu, we were looking at you know, the different cross-listers, what they offer, how much they're going to cost by the time that you're looking at.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know,
and we're not being compensated by anybody. So we have the freedom to do what we want to do and use the tools that we want and what works best for us and what's going to get the best results for us. So one of the platforms is charging 50 cents per item sold. Doesn't matter what platform it sells on. You pay an extra 50 cents. Some of the items that we sell are literally $12 to $15. You add 15 cents into that. That's a big portion of your profit. Another one is $30. The plan that we were looking at is $30 for 250 items, which works out to be like 10 cents.
Right. So it ended up being that if I sold more than 2 items a day, it was going to cost more on the 50 cents per listing than the other lister, which was 250 listings in a month for the $30.
And so how many pieces of jewelry did you ship out today?
At least 4 or 5.
Pretty typical for us. We
ship,
on average,
15.
We ship 15 items a day.
Right. You know, and if I take half of that with jewelry, then, you know, if I did 5 or 6 items a day, now it's going to triple the cost of the other platform that has the 250 listings for $30 a month. You know, so I don't know that I want to spend $100 a month on a cross-listing platform. That's a huge... That's a lot. It's a lot.
In our main store last month, we did 12 items a day on average.
Okay, so yeah, it's gone down because our numbers of sales have gone down.
But again, that was only in the main store. It doesn't include our ad store. It doesn't include the whatnot. It doesn't include Posh.
Right.
So, you know what I mean? Like, you start adding it all up, and if you're paying 50 cents an item, that can get expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we sold 5,000 items last year. So 50 cents an item is $2,500. That's a lot. That would have to get us so much more sales. And are we going to get enough sales to validate a $2,500 extra cost? That's a lot. A lot.
It is a lot. So we're clearly still in the research portion of this.
So if you guys have any input that you would like to add to the conversation, we would be super happy to hear from you of what successes you've had with cross listers. Because obviously we have concerns with, you know, delisting and, you know, you have to keep the computer on all the time to communicate with the app. And that's not something that we typically do. I mean, all of our computers have power saving mode turned on, you know, if we're not actively working in the office. So that's a concern as well. But if we can get all of the extra sales on different platforms, even if it's just, you know, like the ad store is bringing in an extra $400 a month. Well, if Posh could give us an extra $400 a month, that would be awesome. Yeah,
I mean, and if you figure all of these unused platforms for us, even if it's $400, we're talking about 3 other platforms. That's $1,200 a month. Add that to the whatnot, and we're right where we want to be. So, cost of goods was $3,871. It is was
down.
It is very expensive. I just want to note it is very expensive to run an eBay business. And I think that can be very easily glazed over in a lot of conversation. People are not typically using this type of software. They're not talking about it. They talk about big numbers. They talk about, you know, I bought this at the thrift store for $10. I sold it for $100 and it's $90 profit. That's not real. These numbers will show that we spent $373. Now, we've talked a couple times about on inventory, we've talked about the fact that we're challenged right now finding exceptional inventory.
We are.
We can find a lot of that average mid-range stuff,
which we have plenty of.
Mm-hmm. You can see we still have some gray totes. That's all inventory, the unlisted inventory, but it's average.
Yeah. So it's really hard to motivate yourself to list average things.
Well, and the average things, like we talked about, is the stuff that's not selling right now. The really cheap stuff will move, and the really nice high-end exceptional pieces are moving.
Yeah.
But when it comes to average stuff, that market's slowing down for us. So we've got another one here, $18 for inventory purchases. I don't know what that line's about, but it should probably be with the other inventory. $506.43 in listing and platform fees.
Yeah.
Shipping fees, $1,390 in shipping labels. That is not insignificant. Shipping supplies, $302.97. Again, everything that we ship has a cost.
Yeah.
We have, since they've changed to Ground Advantage, we are no longer using priority, with the exception of flat rate.
Right.
When we have bulkier items, Whatnot has a great promotion where it's $8.50 or $8.35 for any flat rate package. So we do use the flat rate packaging for that, but doing regular priority isn't something that we do. So we have to buy our own packaging now.
Right, which is going to be, the jewelry boxes and the bubble mailers and the rigid mailers that
rigid
we
envelopes,
use. Because
all
again,
the boxes.
Our business, we do jewelry, and ephemera is the mostly what we do. So, those are the shipping supplies that we need for our business.
Right. Sourcing mileage, $103.
But again,
we only went
really
out
backed
like 3
off.
times.
Yeah, we really, really backed off on our sourcing. We went out once, and we hit 2 different flea markets on the same day. So that helped tremendously to kind of bring down that cost as well.
So transaction fees, so that's your final value fees. That's all of that other stuff. Another $1,176.
Right. Yeah. That's not your listing fee and platform fee. That's in addition. That's your transaction fees too.
Right. So between all of the different platform
sometimes it's better not to look at your numbers.
It's just under $1,700 in platform fees. So that it does add up, and they're getting
like
their
20%.
Yeah, they're getting their cut.
You're talking almost $2,000 on a $10,000 month. So
like you said, $10,000 month, gross profit $6,774 or $78. Business expenses.
That's going to be our.
So the business is under me. I contract you, so I give you $2,000 every month.
And we've talked about this before. We talked to an accountant. We had concerns about me making sure that I still had work under my belt, so that if I, was disabled in the future or something like that, then I would still have earnings.
Right. And you're paying taxes. And,
right.
And that's all very important.
And this was all discussed with an accountant. Get a guy.
Right. So income tax. From what's left, I owe the federal government $1,200.
But we pay that out of our personal.
We pay that after our monthly distribution.
Right.
So I pay myself a check every month, and people have talked about this. And how do you live on this? Because some months are really bad, some months are really good. I pay myself $2,000, just like you get $2,000, and then I pay my taxes out of that $2,000.
Right.
So I
just like I do,
treat myself like a
contractor
worker
as well. Yeah.
When in the past I owned an S corp and I was an employee, and I paid myself as an employee, even though I had an ownership stake in the business, I was still paying myself as an employee. I still had to pay all my federal taxes, just the same. So. The net profit after taxes, $3,565. Keeping in mind that we did not invest in the inventory that we wanted, and we had severely limited our driving because we couldn't get access to those items that we wanted to add to our inventory. So it sounds at first glance, well, you made $6,000 in March. The problem is you can't run it that way forever. I burned through 8 totes of inventory in the past month.
He has been so busy, so busy.
Right. So, we had a little bit of a the death pile. I call it my backstock inventory, but, we can't continue to run our business like that indefinitely. Because we need to have inventory to sell.
Yeah.
The other part is that we know that there will be some slow months coming up. So the difference, the balance of money, that extra $2,000, we're going to hold on to.
Right. So there's a couple of reasons why it's so important to have that safety net in the business account, which we have right now. We've got a little buffer in that account. You never know when that next buy is going to fall into your lap, and you don't know how much that next buy is going to cost you. I had talked about 2 years ago, he had this great buy. It was a bunch of 1960s model cars that were still new in package. He spent $4,000 on that buy. That was a huge amount of money, especially because we were still a younger business, and that was amazing that he was able to do that, but he was only able to do that because we had the money in the bank,
Right. And it took everything we had.
Yeah. So, having that money in the bank so that next buy is you're able to take advantage of whatever the situation is really important. Or we know the summer slump is coming. It's not a surprise. Like, poof, summer's here and it slows down. Okay, well, then now we have money in the bank for payroll for the next couple of months so that if things are, like, if we just, everything went to zero and we had no sales, which is clearly not going to happen, we would still be okay for a couple of months, Right. So that's
So
really important for peace of mind.
Now.
Yeah.
I know everybody talks about the fact that, I get this bump in sales in March, April because of tax returns. Please, if you're going to take some free advice from anyone, just try to take some of that extra money, set it aside, help you get through those summer months.
Yeah.
Because those are the time of the year that it gets hard. You get squeezed. Last year, so we had a $10,000 month for March. Last June, we had a 6,000 June.
Yeah.
And July was even a little bit less than that.
So we know it's coming. So don't be surprised and don't be unprepared. Like, you really, really do need to, it's coming. So just prepare right now. So that's how we do it. We pay ourselves. We look at the numbers for the year and we average out like what we think that we can afford on the slow months and everything, what we can afford to pay the household. And that's kind of where we came up with those numbers. So we do have a consistent paycheck every month.
It helps with peace of mind to know that your bills are going to get paid, and you adjust your lifestyle to the income that you're giving yourself. So again, like I said, March is historically our best month of the year. If we just balled out because we just made $6,000, we would be in big trouble when our monthly sales are 6,000.
Right.
So
we're already prepared for that upcoming summer slump. Right. It's going to hurt. And that doesn't change the psyche part, but we know that we're prepared.
It's going to be scary. We're going to be listing like crazy and looking forward to Christmas, hoping the calendar moves a little bit quicker.
Q4's coming. Just hold on just a little longer.
We really will. So I think that's basically it on the numbers. Like I said, the big takeaway, it was a good month for us.
It was.
Even though eBay did not come through. It just didn't
look like what a good month has looked like in the past, historically. Historically good months just looked like eBay just ramped it up for us. And now we just have to change our view. And that's okay. It's okay to change, it's okay to change your view on what good looks like this month.
Yeah. So I hope everyone else had a good month of March. And I appreciate you stopping in and checking out how we're doing. And please like and subscribe.
Yep. And comment down below. Thanks so much, guys. Good luck to you out there.